HeyReach hit 3 million ARR after 18 months of pure grind. Our best performing channel was word of mouth. That was added on top of a really good product. After being consulting HeyReach on all things growth over the past a little over a year, I decided to officially join as their CMO as of January 2025. And because apparently I enjoy turning my marketing life into content, I decided to start this mini video series where basically I would be talking to a younger version of myself, telling him all about what being a CMO in a B2B SaaS startup is all about. And hopefully this ends up being useful and actionable for all future CMOs and marketers in general who end up watching. Think of it as Confessions of a CMO meets House of Cards, but with less evil. And so without any further ado, episode 1, let's do this. This is the game plan for today. We're going to start by digging a little into what I like to label as basics of growth. So the growth engine of HeyReach, like what's the vision and the idea behind it. Then we're going to go into specifics, like what are some of the key initiatives that we deployed in January from the marketing end, and finalize with like what are the results and what are the next steps. And so whenever you're thinking about starting a journey, whether as a head of a department or specifically a head of growth and things like that, or even as like a marketer, it's always important to outline and align with the entire company and critical people, critical operators, like what's our growth engine about? Like what are the key things that are working right now, especially if you're joining a company that already has channels that are working and everything. You want to understand the dynamics between those. You want to map out road to success, like what are the checkpoints that you want to hit. You want to put some routines in place because like how you treat your time, as we all know, is critical. And finalized with your plan, like how the marketing team looks like today versus how I want it to look tomorrow. And so when we speak about HeyReach growth model, we have this like what we call a growth square loop that basically consists of 4 key points in our user journey. That starts with user creating a free trial account, which is our KPI, so the free trial signup, then converting to a paid user, then continuously driving ROI, positive ROI from HeyReach, from LinkedIn outbound campaigns, like users winning, which is another KPI that we track, and finally, word of mouth. Effectively, mentions on social, people speaking about HeyReach, including HeyReach in their tool stacks and kind of showcasing what they're doing with it. Speaking about like road to success, it always starts with the forecast. Like we all know that, like what's the revenue? We want to go from here to here by when? And then what's very important in my opinion is to break these into specific KPIs that you can influence. Because when you say, I want to go from revenue X to Y, like I can't really match like what's the channel I want to prioritize over which. So to be able to go, let's say HeyReach to hit 10 million ARR, which is our goal, what's the amount of paid users that we need to have that will kind of translate into that type of ARR? What's the amount of free trial signups that we need based on our existing conversion rate and the improvements that we want to do that will ultimately lead to this amount of paid users? And then what are all the channels that we can utilize, and what are those that we need to prioritize because we can't do them all at the moment? So that will drive this amount of free trial signups and this amount of paid users. And the same thing with churn. Like what's the churn at the moment? What's our projection? And what are some of the activities that we need to do to keep it under control? And so doing a forecast really means breaking things down. And so I want to focus on 2 channels. So just SEO and LinkedIn to drive free trial signups. All this leads to kind of breaking these down into specific tasks. Like to achieve this non-branded traffic, we need X amount of articles, we need X amount of conversion optimizations, we need X amount of LinkedIn posts, connection requests, networking messages, whatever the case may be. You want to break this down into tasks and then compare like what are the resources that we have to be able to achieve this and what's the impact on our numbers. Very important to do this. And this kind of gives you confidence. Like when you have a goal, you want to make it feel like it's challenging but realistic. And to be able to objectively assess that, in my opinion, it's always important to do this in-depth type of analysis and for the entire company to align on these, so we're all working in the same direction. And then, things like who's the owner of what tasks, like what are the deadlines, what support is needed, who is overwhelmed, who's maybe doing too much and they can't really focus, what initiatives needs to be ramped up, kind of like double down, do we need to kill some initiatives, and do we need to adjust and maybe make some corrections because the things are not working as well as we anticipated. And so all this stuff is very critical if you want to have scalable growth. In terms of routines, it's always like the inevitable fight we all have with time. And so this is how my week looks like in terms of meetings and project management and things like that. So I have one-on-one with my boss, so the CEO, Nick, and I also send him regular monthly updates on all things marketing. I have once a week heads-off meeting where department heads kind of meet, discuss on progress, align on things. I have one-on-ones with every single of my team members. There's a tracker system, so the project management system we use in Notion to, everybody at any given point of time can see what are the tasks that are currently in progress, what's coming next, what are the dates when we're doing some big promotions and the channels we're going to utilize. So everything lives in our Notion table and the entire marketing team kind of uses it. There are 3 key reports for me that I play with on a daily basis. So it's a revenue report, acquisition report, and retention report. When you have all of these forecasts, benchmarks in place, it's easier to see we're prioritizing SEO channel. We need somebody to take care of it because me as the department lead, I'm going to take care of some other things. And so this is my first official full-time hire in the HeyReach team. So Boana, who joins as our content lead. And, there are some people we're going to bring in later. But one thing that I wanted to share, I did this little experiment recently where I gave a shout out to Boana as our new hire. And then I gave the opportunity, I wanted to meet some, cool marketers all around the globe. I gave them an opportunity to create their own job description and their dream title. I received a bunch of applications as a result. And I think people really enjoy the opportunity to showcase like what they really want to do, how it applies to HeyReach and how can impact our company and our users. And so there were some really cool people I met. I still have to go through all the applications and meet some additional people, but it was a nice experiment, let's call it like this. Now we can go into specific things where I'm going to show you what were some of the key things that we focused on in marketing. Obviously, there was like a bunch of some additional tasks, but I didn't want to include like all of the things. I just wanted to give you like the big stuff, the most important stuff. And so when it comes to feature and launches and everything, there's a very, very robust plan of features, new integrations, and everything in between being dropped on a monthly basis. And so our job as marketers is to communicate and amplify this in the right way. And so at HeyReach, we use couple of channels in the mix. Obviously, number one is in-app communication. So when users are in the app, this is the ideal place, in my opinion, to show them something that's new. And so recently we dropped, like in January, we dropped 2 new features, LinkedIn voice notes. So you can use HeyReach inbox to directly reply with voice notes from desktop, which you can't do. You can only send audio messages on LinkedIn via mobile. And so now you can do these in HeyReach. And now you have also an additional step in your campaign where you're able to segment people you're already connected with. And so they can go into the specific flow of the campaign, and people who you're yet to connect, which is another flow within the campaign, and kind of segment the two. And so these features were communicated in app, like I said. We then another very, very strong channel for us is our newsletter. I'm going to speak about it in a bit. And we used our LinkedIn profiles in a mix. So personal profiles, not just the company page, to communicate these because we have relevant audiences glued to our LinkedIn profiles. And the response was very positive. The metrics were also very positive. We've seen a bunch of people, a bunch of users using these features and delivering good feedback, not only publicly, but also via customer support and all of that. So good stuff. But my message here is you want to be on top of your game when it comes to how you plan these launches, what channels are you utilizing, and then doing like a post-mortem analysis once you do. Okay, so we've done this. This was the impact. Next time, so in February when we launch new features, how can we do this even better? We started doing outbound outliers. So basically like it's a page that consists of proven GTM experts sharing proven templates, their campaigns, their results, integrations and tools that they're using, packaged into one actionable playbook. The people who have been showcased are sharing these on their LinkedIn profiles, which kind of helps amplify distribution and everything. So it's a very, very nice funnel that we have. And the way we approach LinkedIn is the way I like to approach gym, which means that it's way more fun to do it together as a team rather than to go alone. And because like ultimately the biggest roadblock with LinkedIn as a channel is that you got to maintain discipline. So these are all the profiles that are currently being active. And if you think about it, different people have different audiences with it. So there are 8 profiles here being active on LinkedIn and consistently posting, which means that if you consider the amplification of this is why this is so critical for us. Last but not least, what I would like to say here is, in my opinion, it's very important to communicate that a LinkedIn channel belongs to the person, not to the company, which means that everybody is a boss of their own profile. And so most of the content needs to align with their aspirations. Like where do they want to take their LinkedIn profile? Not everybody has to be an influencer with 100K followers if they don't want to. So everybody needs like a personalized LinkedIn plan. And occasionally there are some HeyReach, promo stuff, lead magnets and things like that we can do together as a team. And this is what's best about this channel and how you kind of keep authenticity of every single profile. HeyReach TV, third channel, aka our YouTube. It's something that started relatively recently and it's yet to produce bigger results, but from what I can see in the past 2 months since we started actively pushing videos, we have streamlined this in January a little bit. So we're regularly posting videos on a weekly basis. And what I am very enthusiastic to see is that now these videos are kind of crossing 1,000 views and they're generating traffic. So not only when we like promote the video on newsletter or through a LinkedIn post or whatever, like it's not only getting views from that, but it's also getting external views, which means people searching on YouTube for non-branded keywords, things like that. We're slowly starting to position and kind of fire up these distribution engines of YouTube, and we're getting more subscribers. The Outbound Alchemist, our newsletter, a fantastic channel for us. What I love about newsletters is no secret right now, which is you completely own the audience and you don't depend on any algorithm in this world. So if a LinkedIn does a change, it directly impacts how my posts are performing. Same for SEO and Google. But newsletter and subscribers are only yours. And so it's a trust, two-way street type of trust. So users decide if they want to read it. If they don't, they unsubscribe and go away, which is nice. And it's on us to do, to be consistent with delivering value to them. And the newsletter for us has worked great, especially for talking about features and some things that we want to do next, stuff like that, and delivering things that our audience wants to see, which are usually, outbound templates, the specific things about LinkedIn outbound, GTM playbooks, and all of the things I've showed you in between. And you can see how these all of these content channels kind of interlink with one another, which is also a smart thing that you want to have. And the question that always abounds everywhere is like, does content bring MRR? And so these are some random screenshots from different team members, and you can see that it delivers leads. So it doesn't only deliver cool new people you meet, some partnerships, integrations, podcast invites, people you're gonna love that later, down the road, but it also brings leads if you do it the right way. And so we started accumulating some really cool messages, from our content efforts. And similar for newsletter, we recently launched this content piece that digs a little bit deeper into how to use Make to connect smart lead and HeyReach. And in my opinion, but I may be a little bit subjective, it was a very good newsletter. And a couple of minutes after sending it, we started getting some replies, and this is like one of them with incoming inbound lead. Last but not least, the third component of a big January push for us was inbound led enrichments. So this is something that started even before January, but it was led by our CRO Ilya. The idea was, like, since we have thousands of free trial signups every month, to start qualifying them better, because ultimately it's not about how many free trial signups we have. The game is about how many qualified free trial signups we have, and then making the right decision based on the user type. So for example, the way we kind of qualify this audience, they go into 3 different tiers. So tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, that have each has like specific criteria. And if it goes to tier 1 and tier 2, which is enrichment done via HubSpot and Clay, that's the workflow. It's being pushed into customer success campaigns where our customer success teams, they hop with specific users and they help them with human-led onboarding motion. If it's like a tier 3 that has other set of criteria with them, they are being pushed into marketing campaigns. So it's like a self-serve onboarding. So this is like one type of an inbound flow that we have. But I've been playing with Common Room. I've been playing with a bunch of other ways to do this. And so if you think about it, like if somebody interacts with our YouTube video or our company page, or they were a previous power user, but now they've changed jobs, this is like, all of these are kind of like warm leads that marketing can send to sales. If we have somebody visiting our pricing page and they visited 2 other pages, plus they are working in a specific company type, this means that this is like a warm lead to our sales. It's like the recent post I did with experimenting with some of the GTM plays. But in essence, like marketing goes all in on inbound. We drive traffic to our website, audience growth on LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. Growth team does the magic with data. We have a great person kind of leading our Clay efforts and all of these engineering stuff. Sales slides into DMs and boxes to discuss it with warm leads, and account reps or customer success team kind of cherry picks qualified leads from flows like inbound led enrichment of free trial signups. There are certain additional tasks that we completed here and there, but they are, like, let's say, less big of a thing for this video for me to talk about. But these were the results. So like I said, our goal is to hit 10 million ARR. We had 18.6% month-over-month growth for MRR, 23% for users, and 22% more user wins. These 3 KPIs are everything to me. Like, if MRR be growing, but the user win rate is not growing, for me, that's a problem. And I'm going to use this as a scoreboard to kind of show you what were some of the things that we did that are producing results. Obviously, I have NDAs to respect, and there's a bunch of competitors lurking around, so I can't reveal everything. But to all of you looking at these videos for inspiration or for some golden nuggets here and there, this is a scoreboard as a proof that something is working. And shit that keeps me up at night, as my former CTO from Shift would say, he had this like sentence that I'm borrowing right now, but shout out to Brian, are time leaks. So these are my challenges in January. So I've been late on 10% of my deadlines. There are some dependencies on other people, usually externally. Like if we're, collaborating on promotion of something or whatever the case may be, there are certain dependencies that sometimes get pushed. Like if somebody has to send something on Wednesday, they might send it on Friday. And so this kind of influence sometimes me and the channels. And there are some dumb problems that take too much time. And so I just got to understand better these time leaks and be smarter in anticipating this, because if something gets delayed and I'm dependent on an external person, I don't necessarily want to say that this person is at fault. Maybe they had a bigger priority to do. Maybe they had a dumb problem that took too much time and they couldn't do it. And so maybe it's not that thing that's causing the issue. Maybe the real issue is I need better management, better anticipation. And so can I do this earlier? and prepare way more in advance to be better at this. And so the way I kind of approaching this challenge of mine is analyzing my time, analyzing what I did, because we have a tracker system in Notion, what was the impact, how much time it took, and then I can make some corrections in February and kind of be better with this and have less time leaks. What's next? If you watched Entourage, you know what's the quote that I want Chris in this video. But like I said, there are competitors around and everything, so I can't reveal everything under the hood. But what I can promise in a pure Ted Lasso fashion is insane focus on these metrics in terms of not just growing HeyReach, but making our users, giving them the keys to do some really, really good LinkedIn outbound stuff, integrate our tools with their stack, and deliver positive ROI all the time. And so all the initiatives that we're going to do, they need to focus on these critical outcomes, and there's plenty of more things in the store, and I can't wait to show all of them to you in the next episode. So see you in episode 2. Bye.